sit your stuff. Okay. Figure out where you want to put them.
All right.
And then you work on getting this off for that, right?
So you can really see where these started to crack and where. This one's worse than the other one, but this one still has some bad wearing in it. You might be able to see the stretch cracks on it right there. There's one more up here. This one's got it pretty bad though.
So you sure you have new springs, right?
Yeah, I have a whole new hardware kit for it. You'll have to save the bracket, obviously, but
I don't think you get this one done.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Once you get these retainer clips out, that hold the pins, they come out pretty easily. I had to get this all first though.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that
with the grips. So. Alright, so we got everything off. Next move is just getting this wheel cylinder back in. So we're going to work on that now. Get the bolts in. This is your bleeder. And then this is the brake access fitting. Goes right there. So here's the back shoe, fits there well, and then the emergency brake rivet goes through this one right here, that hole right there. And then our front shoe just has the adjuster down the bottom, and then obviously you're going to meet with the dowels for the wheel cylinder up here.
It's easier to do it that way.
Oh, I see.
See what I mean? Put it on that side first. And then on that side. Now make sure that goes into that cover. There you go. There you go. See it in there? Got it? At least that'll hold it all now.
There we go. So that other spring goes from the hole above this adjuster loop, and it wraps around the little piece up there that we just put in.
You know what? Let's try something else. A second here. Hold on. I'm just going to try something once.
All right.
I think they would come up with a simpler system, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Good thing.
You remember this was 90s though.
But still, today brakes are like, we're talking about drum, well, everything's just this.
Yeah.
This, you just push it in there. Ready? There we go. Okay.
So that's this side done. Other than bleeding them, which is not going to be fun, because the bleeder is like recessed into the back of the dust cover. So, and the way these work, as opposed to rotors, is these pins hold each shoe in from the back, and then these springs lock in, and you can see that pin locks into that cup, and then once that pin locks into the cup, it essentially holds each shoe in place. And then your brake line, obviously you saw in the back, taps into the back of the wheel cylinder, and as you pump the brakes, it increases pressure, and it's pushing these shoes out onto the drum. And you have springs basically just to hold each one in place, and it's important to remember where each one goes, especially your springs for this arm, which mess with the adjuster. So that screws with the adjuster. This spring helps keep tension off of it from the shoe. Yep, there it is. Yeah, it's just mainly a matter of keeping track of all your hardware, making sure you clean these off and don't get any grease on them or anything. And that's pretty much it. So we gotta fab another line for the other side now because it's stripped, which will be fun.
Okay, and that'll at least hold that.
So one of the things that's very important when you're fabbing any brake line, whether it's a soft line like this or a hard line like this one is, you want to make sure that once you're done with your cuts, that you not only file the inside, but you take off the little ridge that sits on the outside too. If you don't, what can tend to happen is as you slide your fitting over, or as you make your flare, a lot of times you will get burrs that sit in here, and if you go to bleed them and you crack your bleeder and you're getting not a lot of fluid out, but maybe just a tiny bit, it's likely you have some debris in the line that you didn't get out before. So before you fab any and make your flares, just make sure that you take a file. This is just a little round file that I'm using, and I'm just taking off that edge from where I had cut it before. I used the knife originally to ream it. That leaves kind of a rough edge, so I just take this file and smooth it over. And then just take a flat one and literally just take the ridge off the outside of it too. Just helps make sure that you're getting a clean fit up whenever you're sliding the fitting over, or whenever you're adding your brake flare, your double flare that is. Also, I highly recommend this line. This line is like a copper zinc hybrid sort of line, and it's a lot easier to bend, and it has the same wall thickness as this thick stuff does, but it's a lot easier to make your bends by hand as long as you don't kink any with this stuff than it is with the hard line. Just personal preference. I don't think there's that much of a difference between them. I've used this line on the S10 before, and the S10 makes a lot of power and has good stopping speed for what it is, and it works pretty well. And half of the truck is ran with this stuff, and then some of it has the old line. But regardless of it, a personal preference, but I like this stuff because it's a little bit easier to bend personally. So as you guys probably saw, we do have a leak. That wheel cylinder looks dry. That wheel cylinder over there looks dry. And this one obviously is the one we have the leak on. I think it's just the flare because the threads are dry, but the zinc or copper around it where the flare goes has some fluid coming out. Here's that line, and pretty sure that when I cut this fitting, or when I cut this line, it was a little bit at an angle, and then I just flared it. So I'm getting it ground flush now, and then I'm going to reflare it, and we'll see what happens.